Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed the tree change and sea change on a domestic level. We're going to talk about it on an international level, which is definitely on its way. Coming back to you in a sec. Boy, oh boy, have we seen some change. People tree changing and sea changing from CBD busy suburbs out to lifestyle suburbs. James, how are you this morning?
Very well. How are you on the day after your Serbian Christmas, Mark?
Yeah, good. I'm feeling pretty guilty actually. I ate like an eight, just like we do on Christmas. But I think once you go past Australia Day, then you start behaving.
On the straight and narrow for the rest of the year now, is it?
Hope so. Hope so. Hope so. But James Lampley, our real estate agent, Mark Novak, real estate agent, together over 30 years experience. James, are you seeing, what are you seeing with tree change and sea change? First of all, very quickly locally, and then let's translate to that internationally, because that's going to be big bucks for people that own property.
Yeah, well, last 6 to 9 months, these conversations have been coming up everywhere. And I was speaking to a couple of buyers yesterday who are actually in the same position. They've been holding off. They grew up in the beaches. They've moved out into the city and elsewhere. They've done all sorts of various things. And she mentioned that they've just been stalling, getting back to the beaches. They'd want to do it, assessing, and now's the time to go. So people are having these conversations all the time. We've been reassessing what we're doing, and it's very apparent that it's about to happen more so, not just on the domestic side, but as you say, Mark, on an international level. What are your thoughts?
Well, look, I know now, and for anyone who doesn't know, we're on the northern beaches of Sydney, which is about 45 minutes north of the CBD. We will rent a two-bedroom unit in DY for more money than we will rent a two-bedroom unit for in Neutral Bay, which is 10 minutes from the city. So if you consider that I would never have thought I would have seen that day. If you would consider even bigger tree change suburbs further away from the CBD, like your Newcastle, your Gosford, your Terrigals, how they're rallying with price, your Byron Bay, how that's rallying with price. Now, James, this is all being underpinned on a local level. So our international the China market, the UK market, the students and the education have not underpinned the property market yet, and potentially they're looking over over the fence. What are they thinking? What do you think they're thinking?
Well, it's interesting. They're probably thinking how desirable Australia is looking right now. It's We've had some publicity, maybe not the type of publicity we'd like in the last couple of weeks here on the northern beaches with the cluster that we had. But once again, I think this might come from you, but the spotlight's been shining on the beaches, and we've performed well. So if it wasn't already one of the most desirable places in the world to live, it certainly is now.
Yeah, like I reckon, guys, you've got to consider this. We've always been spunky. People have always looked over the fence and thought it's a politically stable country. It's good air, good beaches, good countryside, good education system. No one takes the money. In some countries, particularly communist countries in the world, you can have your wealth that you've built up taken away from you. You can't have that done in Australia if you pay your taxes. So we've been looking pretty good all our lives, the last 50 years particularly, and we've had our different waves of immigration coming through. Yeah, because people have found us as an attractive place to live for all those reasons I just mentioned. But I would have thought now that how we've acted through COVID, how we've acted with our political system, how we've carried ourselves in business in the last 9 months since COVID has manifested. I would have thought, as a country, even when you look at what's happening in America the last 48 hours, I would have thought as a country, we actually, if I was thinking of moving to Australia over the last 3, 5, or 10 years, I would definitely be putting my finger on the trigger when those borders open up again.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple things that you're going to be thinking about when you're looking to make one of these sorts of moves, and it's what sort of lifestyle am I going to be moving into? What are the people like around me? What are the businesses? What's happening in the community around me? And yeah, for the most part, we've shone pretty brightly in getting through this again. So yeah, there's a whole lot more to come. What do you think the next step is in terms of where this really takes us next, to the next springboard for us?
Look, I reckon, and good morning to Jeff. How are you, legend? And Mal, good morning to you. I'd love to know your thoughts on this as well, guys. Anyone who's watching as well. But look, we've achieved the official figure from RP data nationally was 3%. So in dire straits, our country achieved a 3% capital growth for property prices. That's important because it puts money in the back pocket of Australians. That's important because it adds a positive mental sentiment for Australians that own property and even don't own property. It gets away, potentially to put people's state of mind in a negative corkscrew downwards, is not hard to do, but it's actually gone the other way. People are getting quite positive out there. So on the back of that, that's what we've done. All of this on this 3%, James, on a localized market. We haven't had international people buying our property. We were very scared 3 years ago or 5 years ago, saying if, for instance, the Asian markets stopped buying Australian property, our property market would be screwed. We've gone against that. We've proven that theory wrong, and we should be really proud of it. Furthermore, when we do add the international markets coming back, we are going to have a booming property market.
Yeah. Now, this is something we talked about briefly in our sales meeting this week, wasn't it? But we were just talking about what we hypothesize will happen in the year to come, 2021, growth levels after the year we've just had. There are some differing opinions in the office. What were you sort of? And I don't want to. You don't want to.
Before I have my punt, I would like to know everyone's punt who's watching. Anmal, give me a percentage of what you reckon 2021 is going to go up. You're a pro in your area. Luke, you're a pro in your area. What do you think Sydney market is going to do in 2021, capital growth wise? Jeff, I'd love to know what Jeff thinks as well, and anyone else. Give us your punt of what you guys think the property market's going to go up in 2021. And bear in mind, I still don't think, James, I don't reckon our borders are going to be open for trade,
just thinking
property trading or immigration in 2021. By the looks of it, what do you reckon?
I was thinking exactly the same just before you mentioned it. Yeah, it's probably not going to be until 2022 that you can even begin to get some traveling into the equation. So, I'm sure there'll still be this growth, but the wave of the immigration that comes in is probably still a way off, isn't it? Well, definitely still a way off.
Yeah, well, something, if you guys missed it, we spoke with the Real Estate Institute president of New South Wales, Leanne Pilkington. We spoke with her on Monday night. Now, what's interesting is we have missed the intake for universities in January for the first semester.
Yeah.
So if you're an overseas student and you've missed the first intake, the first semester of your uni degree, the odds are the second, third, and fourth semester you're actually going to pike it as well. You're probably going to leave it to the next year.
Yeah.
So that's going to leave a bit of a hole in the rental market around those suburbs. But But what today's story, if you've just tuned in, what today's story is the tree change and sea change effect that we've definitely witnessed on a local level. We reckon, Novak team reckons that it's going to come on an international level, and the handshake with that will be really good capital growth. But again, what year do you reckon it's going to hit?
It's hard to say. Where are we now? Beginning of 20. You look at it mid 22, you probably think to be that's probably quite conservative as well. You want to say it's coming sooner, but we just don't know, do we? Who knows how long this will last? But there are some other parts of the world that are struggling a lot worse than we certainly have. So people in the UK, I bet there's a lot of people who've been thinking about this idea for 5, 10, 15 years, maybe more. And now they're isolated there and, they're going to be building up their itchy feet to get over.
Look, if you're quarantining your international intake, I couldn't see that much problem with it. So even if you said, look, let's do a 3-week quarantine just to be sure, if these cats are coming to this country and they're bringing benefits, they're using our education system, they're bringing money to the country. They generally stay afterwards as well. Immigrants, once they educate themselves here, they generally stay here afterwards. Also, like fruit pickers and all those types of people in our economy, we are struggling with getting that labour done at the moment on a local level. We always had a lot of international people helping us out on that, so we sort of need that a little bit. But I do reckon, if I had a punt to finish off today's international sea change chat, what do you think 2021 is going to do with capital growth?
It's interesting. I think we're very, very lucky on the beaches and always have been. People often say it's probably one of the best parts in the world to be, in the parts of the world generally. But what I was going to say is to be working in real estate, and I think they're probably right. I think it's up and up, but there's so much turmoil and so much going on that you never really want to jump too far ahead of yourself. I think this year is really a year for the world reinforcing what we learned last year with COVID. Probably a lot more people where they're going to be time for people to be sat on their bums thinking about what their next move is. And then 2022, maybe 2023 is probably going to be the deciding year where people make their moves and really go for it. So capital growth 2021, I'm expecting positive growth, of course. And then I reckon exponential growth 22.
Okay, so it's a bit of a double barrel shotgun. We've had one barrel fire off for the property market in 2020. The same barrel, which is that localized market, I think easier lending restrictions, lower interest rates, I think will be that same barrel firing again. Then I think it'll be a double barrel shotgun. The other barrel will also be going off, I think, in 2022 when people come to Sydney, when people come to Australia because they want a tree change or sea change. They want to get out of the cold weather they're in the UK. They want to get to a safe economical environment from China. They're coming from all over the world saying, you know what, you guys put on a great show from COVID. I've always wanted to be part of this. I definitely want to be part of this. And that is going to underpin our property market, underpin our sentiment and our economy even more. That's our punt from today.
Well said. Very nice. Thanks, Mark. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap, dude. That's a wrap. Have a great day. Good luck with American politics out there. James and I were a bit scared to talk about it today, but I think 4 or 5 people, unfortunately, have passed away as a result of it. And Mr. Trump, the outgoing president, had his Twitter and his Facebook accounts shut down by Twitter and Facebook. It's a weird world.
It's a very, very weird world, and it's a strange time to be alive, but we're lucky to be where we are. We're happy, we're healthy, and it's a new year, and let's make the most of it. Corny.
Well said. And guys and girls, if you want us to talk about anything on this show, just let us know. Direct messages. We love your support. Or actually, I do want to get Anmol and Luke on the show as well to have a bit of a chat about your markets as well, guys. So let's touch base. But let us know if you want us to talk about anything in these comments or direct messages. Love ya.
See ya. Bye.
See you, mate. Take care. Bye, everyone. Bye, bye, bye.
Bye-bye.